College football Saturday, Big Ten best bets. We run through every game in the Big Ten. Check out our SEC show. We did the same thing for you. Click that like, hit subscribe. Got a lot of games in the Big Ten. Let's get at it. UCLA, team that's been knocking people off, they visit Indiana. Indiana ranked number 2 or 3 in the country, depending on what poll you look at. Right now, Indiana laying 26.5. You're over under at 53.5. So let's tackle the total first. 75% of bets, 86% of the handle is going to the over. Makes sense the way both these two teams play. 25% of tickets, 14% of the handle going to the under in this one. Now, as far as the side, it's crept up. It was at 24.5. We're up to 26.5. 65% of bets, 62% of the handle is on UCLA, yet the line keeps climbing. 35% of bets, 38% of the handle going to the Hoosiers. Now, when you get inside the numbers here, Indiana under Kirk Cinetti has been a covering machine. 13-6 ATS their last 19 games. They're 7-0 so far to start the season, but Indiana's hit the over 13 of the last 19. Remember, we say over's getting pounded. On the flip side, UCLA 3-7 against the number of their last 10 games. Indiana has won 13 straight home games. They've been absolutely incredible. Their last 10 games as a home favorite, they're 10-0 straight up, but just 6-4 ATS. But check this out. UCLA straight up as a road dog, 4-6, but they're 7-3 ATS. They've been absolutely incredible against the spread. UCLA comes in 3-4, both straight up in ATS. Indiana comes in 7-0 straight up, just 4-3 against the number. They've only played one time. That was last year in UCLA. Indiana, this team's better than last year's team, and Indiana walked the dog there. 42-13 really just put it on them. I don't expect a whole lot of difference in this one for sure. I think the biggest thing for Indiana is if you're taking Indiana, you need a fast start. If you're leaning towards UCLA, the other problem with them is you're relying on an erratic team. Like, is the Penn State win that good? Is the Michigan State win? Is it that good? Those would be the things that bothered me about it when I really look at this game. For me, I'm not going to have a side in either one. I'm never going to lay 26.5. I don't care who it is. And I just don't want to step in front of Indiana, especially in Indiana. That's a no-go, so I'll take a pass. Again, our greatest advantage as handicappers and as bettors is we don't have to bet every game. So use that to your advantage. That's your best tool that you got in your pocket. Rutgers, they visit Purdue. Rutgers laying 1.5, the over-under 58.5. 24% of tickets, 51% of the money to the over, 76% of tickets, 49% of the money going to the under. Now, Rutgers getting overwhelming support, laying that 1.5 on the road. 70% of tickets, 72% of the handle to Rutgers. Only 30% of tickets, 28% of the handle to the hometown Boilermakers in this one. As far as the matchup goes between the two teams, now look, Rutgers, they've been much, much better. Purdue's broke my heart a number of times this year. I really thought, and I know Barry Odom's going to get them situated here, but they just haven't shown up like I've needed them to. They've lost 5 straight. Even worse, they're 2-7 ATS their last 9, and 5-3 ATS their last 18 overall. So I know Odom's going to get it turned around, but just isn't happening as quick as I thought it was going to. Rutgers 1-4 straight up their last 5 games, but even worse, Rutgers has not traveled well. They're 4-12 straight up their last 16 road games. Now the over is covered for Rutgers. 5 of their last 6 games in the Big Ten. When I look at this game, really comes down to one big thing. Rutgers comes in 3-4. Purdue comes in 2-5. Head-to-head, Rutgers took the last 2 meetings. Those were in 2020 and 2017. I think Purdue gets off the mat here and not only covers the 1.5. I think they win outright. Look, Rutgers does come in averaging 32 points per game. Purdue's averaging 22.7, so a little under 10 points per game difference. Rutgers giving up 31.6 points per game defensively. Purdue a little bit better, 27.9. I just like the spot for Purdue. Listen, I'm not going to play it. Here's another thing on a Saturday. You either got to go one of two ways. you got to fall somewhere in like that, ideally 3 to 7 play range. This week I played 10, gave out 9 on our show. Check out that show. You'll love that 9 best bets for college football. I ended up playing 10, full transparency. But you either got to keep it like to that number, or you got to play all like 70 some games or whatever it is on the board. Because if you get stuck in that middle ground, you're just going to get juiced out. I even think 10's too many. I just really like the card. The past couple of weeks, I've kind of forced the issue trying to get bets. And what's hurt is I've actually lost my best bets, and the other ones have kind of cleaned up for it and carried me. So, again, not the perfect science, but just be careful when you're going through. Again, you don't have to bet each and every game. This is going to be a sneaky good one. Northwestern at Nebraska. Both teams come in 5-2, but Nebraska is 2-5 against the spread. Northwestern 5-2 ATS against the spread. Nebraska laying 7.5, and it's all the love's going towards Northwestern. They're getting 66% of tickets, 90% of the handle, compared to just 34% of tickets, 10% of the handle for Nebraska. Pretty crazy to believe Nebraska's only getting 10%. Now, that over-under is 44.5. The money's split dead even, 50-50. But here's the difference. 70% of those tickets for that 50-50 is to the over. 30% of those tickets are to the under, and it's still 50-50. So definitely pros are on the under. Joes are on the over. Now, look, full transparency, Nebraska and Arizona State in a 2-team 7-pointer or 2-team money line parlay. I think that's fantastic. I ended up playing it. I also had Wyoming with Arizona State. I think I like Arizona State a lot against that Houston team. But listen, getting Northwestern, I can't lay 7.5, but that money line parlay situation, I think that's a good deal with them in Arizona State. Nebraska, they haven't been good covering spreads. Again, we talked about their record this year, but they're 1-4 ATS overall. Now, Nebraska or Northwestern is 4-1 ATS the last 5 games against Nebraska. They've played them very tough. The under is cashed 4 of the last 6 games Northwestern's played in. However, 6 straight games at home that Nebraska has played, 6 straight have went over the total. Again, I got no opinion other than getting Nebraska in a money line parlay or a teaser situation. I like that angle of it. As far as laying 7.5, I don't trust Nebraska to lay 7.5. And I don't want to take Northwestern on the road. Northwestern getting Penn State, that was a whole nother deal. But if you're going to talk about them going on the road now to Nebraska, I just can't subscribe to that. Next game on the board, another game I haven't played, but I tell you what, if it touches another half point, I'm going to play it. Iowa's up to 9.5. Minnesota, again, 71% of tickets, 82% of the money. Iowa, again, 29% of bets, 18% of the money. That over-under, 39.5. And the money and ticket count is flipped. Remember, I say it's always a red flag. 69% of tickets to the over, but it's only accounting for 34% of the handle. 31% of tickets to the under, but that's only equating to 66% of the handle on this one. Iowa has covered the spread. They're 8-1 the last 9 ATS versus Minnesota. They've owned them against the spread. Minnesota, not very good ATS, 1-4 their last 5 games. Iowa, on the flip side, 4-1 ATS. They're also 4-1 straight up. Now, remember that stat, Iowa, 8-1 ATS the last 9 versus Minnesota. But listen, now you're talking about it touching 10. That's a whole different ballgame. The under with these two teams has cashed 11 of the last 16 games. When I looked in as far as the teams in their previous matchups, I just want to refresh that, make sure I get everything for you. When you're looking at Iowa and Minnesota, here's the thing. Iowa doesn't score a lot of points. We all know that. Kirk Ferentz, they're not a light-you-up offense. Both of these teams come in 5-2. Iowa last year, 31-14. Before that, in Iowa, Minnesota, 12-10. They got the win. Again, Iowa's taken 9 of the last 10 straight up. So there's 1 of 2 ways to do this. You throw Iowa in some kind of money line parlay, or you take Minnesota plus the 10, or you do both. That's my leans on this game both ways. Other than that, nothing I really want to get into. Here's one that I'm really curious about. It didn't make my card, but, man, I took a hard look at it. Illinois and Washington, the line was 4. The line has now dropped to 3.5 in this one. 37% of tickets, equating to 53% of the handle, is on the Washington Huskies. 63% of tickets, but 47% of the handle going to the Fighting Illini, the Fighting Brett Bielema's, as I call them, on the road. Now, your over-under is 54.5. 65% of tickets to the over, 35% to the under in this one. I really thought long and hard about laying the $1.60 with the Washington Huskies. Not going to lie, just like the spot. Illinois, I think, is a much different team on the road as they are at home. Illinois is 9-2 ATS their last 11. They're 9-2 straight up over that same time frame. Washington just 3-6 ATS their last 9. But up until that Ohio State game, that's the only blemish at home, folks. Washington's 19-1 straight up their last 20 at home. Again, the only lean for me here is it's Washington or nothing. I can't really subscribe to anything else other than that in this game. Here's one that I like. It made my card. It's one of my 10 bets. It's on the 9 Best Bets College Show. Check out that show again. Always click that like, hit subscribe, support us. Michigan at Michigan State. And this one's going to be a sneaky good one. Michigan's laying 14.5. They're getting 54% of ticket count, 44% of the handle. Michigan State, the hometown Sparty head coach Josh Smith, 46% of tickets, 56% of the money. That over-under is 47.5. Ticket count, 70% to the over, 30% to the under. The handle, 83% to Michigan, 17% of the handle going to the under there with Michigan State. When I looked at this game, the first instinct I had was there's no way I can take Michigan State. They're just not playing good football. Michigan comes in 5-2, Michigan State 3-4. But ATS, both of these teams are 3-4. But hear me out. Here's why Michigan State made my card and with the plus 14.5. First of all, the ugly. Michigan State 3-9 ATS their last 12 games overall and 1-4 straight up their last 5. Got it. Michigan comes in 8-2. Now, let's have some over-under talk real quick. The overs cashed 5 of the last 6 games Sparty's played in. The unders cashed 6 of the last 9 games that Michigan's played in. The over is cashed 4 of the last 6 games head-to-head between these two teams. But this is what really got me. Michigan State is 12-4-1 ATS the last 17 head-to-head with Michigan. Let me say that again. Michigan State is 12 wins, 4 losses, 1 push ATS the last 17 versus Michigan. So if you go down through this and I said, okay, how many times have they been by more than 14? Right? Let's look at that. Michigan's won the last 3 outright, but Michigan's only won 6 of the last 10 head-to-head. These two teams play every year. So games in which Michigan beat Michigan State over the last 10 by more than 14, 2023, a 49-0 spanking. The year before that, 2023, they beat them by 22. But look, those were the two like national championship year run team and the other year where they were knocking on the doorstep. Other than that, there's only been one other time, 2019. So 7 of the 10 games has been within that 14-point number. Sparty made my card here, plus 14.5. I like them. I encourage all you to bet them. But, hey, if the stats I gave out said, hey, I want to take Michigan, I'm always happy. Whether you fade or follow me, I hope you make money. Again, love Michigan State. Check out that SEC show. I promise you guys will love it. Check out the 9 Best Bet College show. You'll really like that. Piece of content on every sport. We break down every game on the card. NBA, NHL, college football, NFL, the World Series. We're going to win this World Series game 1. Everybody told me I was crazy for the Blue Jays. And now college hoops is coming up. You don't want to miss it. Break the Board Sports, where our main goal is to help you become a better handicapper. If you don't want to cap your own games, you just want plays, breaktheboardsports.com. All the plays, $1.37 a day. God bless and happy handicapping.